Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Philosopher's Blood, back again for fourth or fifth time, pretty sure. I've lost track. Probably a good thing, means I'm uploading a lot of videos, or at least enough to do something with myself. It's been a few months since the last time I've uploaded, mainly due to just being busy with college. It's been a particularly grueling semester, and I haven't had much time to dedicate towards making videos. Not that it matters too much anyways, it's not like I have like a giant fan base I'm attending to. But for the 2 or 3 of you, or maybe even 0 of you who actually care, it's good to know. But without further ado, today we're going to be talking about politics. More specifically, a pet peeve I have with people online and people just being kind of fucking stupid, in my own personal opinion. I feel as if over the last 2 or 3 years, actually even longer, probably honestly more like 5 or 10, we've seen a pretty big rise in extremists in terms of online activity, you know what I mean? And in the big 26, it seems to me a lot more out in the open in terms of its presence. I mean, dude, I can't tell you how many fucking Agartha, Vril, fucking Yakub jokes I've seen talking about some fucking hollow earth flying like UFOs into space or underground and shit. But I don't think people really realize a lot of the serious undertones these videos have in terms of what they promote. The rabbit hole goes so deep, from just shitty memes on your Instagram reels to links to actual fucking terrorist attacks and forums just filled with people promoting and raving about this shit, calling school shooters like saints, giving them fucking score rosters. Some really just outrageously disgusting things that I think most average people can come together and say is not good. And this is only one side of it too. It doesn't help that very little, if not nothing, is being done overall to crack down on these individuals, at least on a federal level. Yeah, there's been banned accounts, but it's pretty easy to just make another fucking account, dude. They practically wear that shit like a trophy. And I wouldn't make that much of a fuss about this. Well, I still would, but not as much if it weren't just so present online. And it's not just right-wing chuds either. It almost seems that everybody is so adamant to fucking glorify these outrageous ideas and concepts that have been proven, historically speaking, to not turn out very well. You could potentially make an argument for certain forms of communism in smaller third world countries with vastly different cultures from our own, but that's a small exception, at least from what I understand. I should probably clarify, I'm not a genius when it comes to any of this, you know what I mean? One of my biggest fucking pet peeves about political content creators is how they just talk like they know everything about what they're talking about, when in reality it's usually just kind of hit or miss, or just straight up lies. Even from the more notable ones, I feel like it's just a problem. But moving on, I think the problem stems from the fact that people really just can't think for themselves when it comes to this kind of shit. Overall, politics are pretty hard for the average person to comprehend in full. Well, it's not hard to comprehend, but I mean, it's very inconvenient to. And it's much more convenient to either consume the news or social media as a means of understanding it. And even when you do have sources, a lot of the time they're biased, and you gotta look for biased sources and shit, and you just don't know who to trust. And it sucks. It really does. It sucks. I hate it. I hate trying not to be ignorant at times, because it's a pain in the ass. And I really hate that we live in a world where it does have to be a pain in the ass to not be ignorant. And even then, I admit, I'm pretty fucking ignorant at times, man. I can't lie to you. I feel as if my own knowledge on these subjects is pretty fucking limited as well, even with the digging I do. So I mean, why? Why does this happen? And the problem mainly stems from the fact that people simply prefer to try to approach and understand these very glorifying and utopian picturing ideologies with flashy, very overstimulating visuals, because I mean, they're easier and more comfortable to understand, especially as a means to cope with a system that kind of rejects us, and we're seeing actively fail every day. But I don't think the crown jewel solution is to jump ship to communism or fascism or fucking anarcho-capitalism or whatever bullshit, weird, neo-libertarian phalangist ideology you fucking believe in, bro. It doesn't help that anytime you push these people on what they're talking about, they either stop responding completely or hide what they're trying to say behind layers of irony that usually just ends up being kind of nothing. About a year ago, I was in an argument with this guy in a fucking TikTok comment section. He had made a video talking in depth about how authoritarianism was better because smaller government and more stuff gets done. was basically what he was saying. This guy was very America first, and it was kind of clear he was definitely to some degree a groyper. And I pushed him. I was like, hey, what small group of people is going to take charge? And this guy's response is just to say, well, me and my guys, of course. Like, what the fuck kind of response is that? That's just one example. I kind of have a problem with getting into arguments with people online. It's not a good thing. I'm too fucking opinionated for my own good. Overall, I personally think if things are ever going to get better, we need to start abandoning this old world idea of what politics can and cannot be. And instead of just mindlessly clinging to old world ideologies, we need to start seeing our circumstances through a different lens that isn't tampered by these rigid lines of what should and should not be. To sum it up short, I just think people's outlooks on the world are becoming very rigid at a time where I don't think what we need is these rigid lines, you know? Many of our countries are in dire needs of repair and have looming problems that if aren't solved properly could have catastrophic consequences. And I think we all need to collectively take a step back and assess this shit for a second. I also want to clarify, I'm not a centrist. I have opinions, I have takes. I research and form opinions on shit that's going on. But I also really think we shouldn't have these objective truths to ideologies, as I really don't believe in a single unifying system that just works for everybody, as I think human cultures are too vastly different and complex to really represent that. What works down there isn't going to work up here, and what works over there isn't going to work over somewhere else. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of does things differently. Certain things work better than others. Some things are just bumfuck stupid. I mean, look at how the US government's doing. Overall, just think a little deeper when it comes to these things, you know what I mean? Don't gloss over these things, and never be afraid to ask questions, and be a little bit uncomfortable. This all sounds very basic, but it can go a long way, in my personal opinion. Overall, that's probably going to do it for today. I think I've just about ran out of things to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed my little rant. Hopefully you took at least something away from it. Maybe it moved you in some way. Or maybe you just got a little bit of a smile out of it. Whatever it is, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.